name is Alison Smith, and I am the Fitness and Wellness Director at UTSA Campus Recreation in San Antonio, Texas. And today I'm here to talk about the BOSU Complete System. So the BOSU Balance Trainer Complete System is awesome. It consists of 3 main components: this manual, workout charts that we'll talk about later, and some CDs as well, some videos that we'll talk about later. So within this complete system, we have so many different things. We have some exercise physiology, some functional training aspects, some core stability. We have a plethora of exercises that go very in-depth about how to perform the exercises on the BOSU. And then we have just our general information about the BOSU. So to get started, we'll talk a little bit about the BOSU, some safety tips, stuff like that, and who the BOSU or the complete system is for. So in general, our BOSU Complete System is going to be for program directors such as myself, for group exercise instructors, which I still do, and then for those personal trainers who work one-on-one or in pairs or small group settings. They can use this awesome BOSU trainer. So the BOSU Balance Trainer, BOSU stands for both sides up. So you can either have the dome side up or the dome side down. So we have 2 options here with this BOSU. Although that we have this wonderful black platform to stand on, it's not recommended that you stand on the platform. Safety reasons, it is an unstable surface here, and we can do everything standing that we need to do on this blue dome side, or pink if you have a pink BOSU. So a little bit more about this BOSU. It should be about 8 to 10 inches. When it comes, it's going to be deflated. It's going to be a small, flat piece of plastic. So we need to inflate it. You'll just flip it over. It has this white stopper here. Pull it out. Pump some air into it. You want it, like I said, about 8 to 10 inches. Feel free to measure it. But a good rule of thumb when you flip it back over is you're going to be able to see if it's too overinflated. There's not going to be much give when you push down into it. There's going to be maybe some ridges and deformities within the BOSU. And then if it's underinflated, you're going to see that too. There's going to be a whole lot of give in your BOSU. And it could be a lot more difficult to balance on. So check your BOSUs. I, at my studio, check them regularly, at least once a month. And of course, every class, you check your participants, see what their BOSU is looking like. So about 8 to 10 inches is what we're looking for in terms of the BOSU. And then you want to also make sure that your BOSU is safe, it's dry. Currently mine is a little bit wet because we clean them after every session. So, you can always wipe it down with your hand, you can get towels, just making sure that it's dry. The surface of a BOSU is very similar to the surface of, say, a group exercise floor or a basketball court. When it gets wet, it's slippery. So be careful, make sure that your participants have a towel with them, or that you have a towel to wipe down those BOSUs should they get sweaty. And just being aware of your environment. Another thing that we like to check is our shoes or the footwear that we're wearing. Athletic shoes is definitely going to be the best. So I got the Under Armours. They work really well for me. These are actually running shoes. A lot of times when I teach, I'll use cross trainers. But I don't get that picky with my participants because not everyone has the luxury to buy a million different shoes. You can also use the BOSU Balance Trainer barefoot. You have to be careful there. Be mindful of the exercises that you've selected, the equipment that you're using, and just be cautious when you're using it barefoot. So benefits to shoes or shoeless, and just knowing, again, the surrounding, the space that you're in to stay safe. Within this BOSU Complete System, we've got plenty of more tips, some FAQs, everything that you need to start a successful BOSU class. Another thing that the BOSU Complete System talks about is the variables of the BOSU class, which we'll hit on in just a second. So there's 5 variables. Also within the BOSU system, we have a plethora of exercises. So we have upper body exercises, we have lower body exercises, core, total body, and then in our workouts you'll see a circuit workout as well. So as I mentioned earlier, your exercises, each exercise is laid out. It's pretty much everything you need to know to have a great class, an effective workout, and a safe exercise. Once you've got those down, we move on into our workout charts. So the workout charts are either going to be 1 page or 2 pages. 1 page are 15-minute workout, 2 pages are 30-minute workout. And within this BOSU complete system, we have 9 workouts. This one here is a complete total body workout. We'll be using it today, 30 minutes. We have a 15-minute core, upper body, and lower body workout. And then we have 30-minute workouts for the upper, lower, core, total body, and circuits. So we've got lots of great exercises in there that we'll go over just a little bit and how to use those charts. And then last in the manual, we have CDs. So there's CDs within your BOSU complete system over the core workouts, total body, upper, lower, and the circuit, so that you can see these BOSU master trainers teach the class and then use some of their cues for your classes. Really understand how to do these exercises perfectly. So, going back to the variables, we have 5 variables when dealing with the BOSU. First one we're going to talk about is contact points. So, contact points. What is touching a surface? So if I were to stand on the BOSU, right on top of the bullseye, I have 2 contact points on my BOSU. If I wanted to step off my BOSU, I still have 2 contact points, one on the ground, one on the BOSU. Now, if I grab my body bar, hold it right in front of me, and still keep both of my feet on the BOSU and on the ground, I've added a 3rd contact point. It's not part of my body, but it is a supporting external stimulus that's helping us out, and it makes for 3 contact points. Contact points go beyond our feet. They can always be knees, so you can have your knees, and right now I have my toes touching the ground. We now have 4 contact points. Adding my hands, if I keep those toes down, we now have 6 contact points. If I lift up my toes, we've got 4. So it's making sense. Each part of your body can be a contact point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got 6 contact points. Then, if you'd like to flip over, get into the supine position on top of your BOSU, I'm now touching the ground and I have 3 contact points. Both my feet and the glutes. So lifting up the feet, I still have my hands on, making it 3 contact points. I've let my hands go, and now I have 1 large contact point. Hopefully the contact points are making sense. You can also turn over, come prone onto your BOSU. Maybe hold Superman. Arms come out, legs are out. And we have 1 contact point right on those hips. Again, it's a bigger contact point, but you're also holding up that whole body on top of your BOSU. That's variable number 1, contact points. Next, we have our visual effects. That's our 2nd variable. Visual effects, we're talking eyes, where we're looking. So you can hop on your BOSU. Let's go back to standing right on top of that BOSU. And just closing your eyes for some people can make them a little wobbly. So closing your eyes is a great way to add a little bit of visual stimulus. Maybe we want to squat down. And if your head's looking straight forward, you have a nice neutral spine, neutral neck, that's going to be a good place for most of us and most people when they're doing most exercises. So notice I'm saying most a lot because we need options for those who may want to progress or regress. So for those who'd like to progress, we can always squat down, look towards the ground, squat and look towards the ceiling, or lift and look towards the ceiling. Squat down, maybe let the arms follow, or your eyes follow the arms. Or maybe we want to look side to side. So looking to where those arms are going. So lots of different options with your visual effect. And what can you do? You can let your eyes track an external stimulus or a part of your body. You can also close your eyes and kind of challenge your balance that way. And, you know, whatever works. Give lots of options for those participants so that they can feel successful yet challenged. Our 3rd variable is going to be movement. So a lot of times that's in range of motion and the movements that we get within our body. So, coming back to the BOSU, we're thinking of the squat again. And for a large range of motion, you're asking them to squat down and bring those hips in line with the knees, give a nice low squat. But maybe that's not okay with everybody. Maybe we need to decrease the range of motion, make that movement a little smaller, and shallow out that squat. We can also think about coming onto the BOSU with 1 contact point, balancing with that foot, and then lifting and lowering your leg out to the side. So this is a nice small range of motion, and for some this is perfect, for some it's too much, and they need to tap down every single time they come back. Or some might extra high to get a greater range of motion and more challenge. So our movement is in terms of range of motion in a lot of sense and how far we need to move within that exercise. It can also be when coming down onto the ground, or onto your BOSU, excuse me, coming back. And maybe we want to lift a leg and crunch and then set it down. So there's movement within our legs. So we have 3 variables. Coming back to our contact point, our visual effect, and our movement. Last we have our external stimulus. So we can add some things. Over here I have some tools. I have a body bar, a medicine ball, and some hand weights. There's some really nice soft weighted handballs that I'm not lucky enough to have. But those are great. They fit in most people's hands. You can squeeze them, you can work on your grip, and it adds a little bit different stimulus than maybe just your hand weights. So as I demonstrated in an earlier move, you can use a body bar as a contact point and as a balance helper. So right now I have my 3 contact points and I'm using an external stimulus to kind of help my exercise. With the same body bar, I can push it up, I can bring it onto my shoulders, and I can sit back into that same squat, and now that I've added weight, we've made it a little bit more challenging with that same external stimulus. Moving on to our 5th variable, it's adding it all together. So you've got to combine these variables to change up the exercises, make them, progress them, regress them, give them some variety. So maybe I want to come down onto the BOSU. And right now I have 3 contact points on the BOSU. It might be sit. Lifting 1 foot off, I've now moved to 2 contact points, and now I have 1 contact point here. And I'm just going to move my feet and get a little movement with less contact points. Maybe I want to hold my feet up, grab an external stimulus, say my body bar, and I want to row and follow the end of the body bar. And clearly that's a balance challenge. So right there I've added a decrease or a change in our contact points. I added an external stimulus while moving with a rotation. And at the same time following it with my eyes, so adding that visual effect. So those are going to be our 5 variables with the BOSU complete system. Moving on to another very important part of the system is our exercise charts. So these laminated charts have been provided for us, and they're so helpful. So our 30 minutes workout has 10 exercises, and within each column, there is 3 exercises to choose from. One's not necessarily harder than the other. The 3-point row could be hard for someone to balance on both knees on the BOSU, whereas the standing lunge row could be harder for someone else because they have to hold that lunge position on the BOSU. So understanding that one isn't harder than the other, it's just 3 variations of the same exercise. So once we've understood that and we are just looking to select the best exercise for us or for our group exercise class or our participants, clients that day, we can go through and select. So today, I'm going to start with the standing row. Do you remember that? I'm going to circle it. I'm going to take a nice dry erase marker, circle it, boom, got an exercise. We're going to move on to exercise 2, figure out what is the best exercise to follow up that lunging row. Today I'm going to decide that it's a squat and a shoulder press. So very easily moving from the lunge row position to then stepping on top of the BOSU, finding the balance, and then squatting down and pushing up. So it's a real nice transition. Not all exercises have to have a fantastic transition, especially when you're looking to even out a workout. So we've done more of an upper body, a total body, and now we're going to go down to a core exercise. Today I've selected the double crunch. So from our standing squat press position, we're going to come all the way down to the BOSU. We're going to bring our legs up, and we're going to bring our knees and our chest towards each other for that double crunch. So continuing on through the workout, because I was still laying on the dome, I thought it'd be perfect to transition then into the incline bilateral tricep extension. Just lowering my body down a little bit closer to the ground, grabbing a weight and moving to my triceps, an upper body exercise. We're going to hop back up. We're going to choose our fifth exercise, the 3-count lunge and bicep curl. We'll go over that a little bit in more detail today. We're going to add those weights. We're going to add a bicep curl and a lunge and make it a total body exercise. Our 30-minute workout has 2 pages, remember, it has 10 exercises, so I'm still picking. I'm still picking from that column what works best for me that day. So we've moved from our lunge and curl back into the dome. We're going to come into a V-sit on the dome. And we'll look at a couple of different options on how you can really just give that exercise a variety. You might even see another one in this row. After exercise 6, we're going to just pop up, flip over, and come into a prone position, having our toes on the BOSU and into a plank. And we might move into a push-up there, giving a little bit of option. In exercise 8, this is definitely more of a cardio option. We're going to do the jump, jump, stick. There's no reason. It's not harder or easier than any other one. For me, it's just more fun. Exercise 9, we're going to come back down, and we're going to do the extended kick and crunch. And last, we're going to end with a partner weight exchange. We're going to have someone come in and help me out with that one. So hopefully that provides you a little bit more understanding of how to use the BOSU Complete system. Like I said, choose one exercise from each column, piece it together, and then always be thinking about your transitions. How long are these exercises going to go before they're ineffective, and what variables can you use to either progress or regress the exercises to really make sure that it works for everybody you're working with, whether it's a client, a large group class, or a small group training. So just to highlight in that BOSU manual again, we went through all 10 of those exercises. And the BOSU system has way more than those 10, technically 30 exercises. So like I said, you're going to find core exercises, upper, lower, total body exercises, and circuit exercises. A nice little table of content for you within each section. And then on here, what's so nice about each exercise is it goes through the variables. So you can sit here and you can pick your exercise. If we want to do the bent knee boxer crunch, and we know about our contact point, the lower trunk is on the BOSU here. You can look at the visual effect and give you suggestions as to what you can do to change that up. We move into movement. How can we change our movement or our range of motion? And then external stimulus. What can we add to change up and give this exercise variety? It also talks about setup and alignment, your execution, and some safety tips, which are all important. A lot of times, not every exercise is going to be for the right population. So it's really great to know which exercises may not be great for those with carpal tunnel or our senior populations. And like I said, this is for every single exercise that they provide for you in the BOSU Complete. At the end of all of these exercises, they provide you with a lot of information. So not only do they tell you how to use the system, I mean, I can tell you it's open the manual. But then they talk about core stabilization and neutral spine posture, which is so incredibly important, not only in the BOSU, but in all exercises you do with all equipment. No one wants to walk around doing exercises like this. So we always want to think about rolling our shoulders back, really being tall, having great posture. And then what this section really covers is about our core and the core strength, and the difference between bracing your core versus hollowing out. So thinking about, if you hollowed out your stomach, it might have more like a pit. You're almost pulling the belly button into the spine. And when is that useful? And then bracing the core is kind of that isometric hold I like to recommend to my participants that imagine you're about to be tickled. What's that bracing feeling? You're bracing because someone's about to tickle you, so that feeling within the core. And that's, my very brief description. But this section does a great job of understanding the difference and how to utilize that, as well as your spinal posture and how important your back is. Another thing that I really hit on hard when I talk about the core with my students is that there's no point working this if you're not going to work this. We have a core set of muscles. They work together. And so how to really work those back muscles as well as those front core muscles and get a complete all-around workout in that midsection. So not only does it talk about the core, but then it's going to talk about understanding and defining functional training. Functional training is such a buzzword. We use it all the time. It's one thing that I really hit on with my instructors and my trainers so that they can pass the message along to their classes. What is functional training and why are we using it? Why are we saying it's functional if we don't even know what functional means? So taking our athletes and putting them on the BOSU, why are we going to do that? Why is that functional to what they do? Are they a shot put? And do they do track and field and they throw the shot put? What can we do on the BOSU so that it's functional and applicable to what they do? Or just going to deal with your senior clients, finding balance on the BOSU is functional for them because every day they need to balance. Or picking something up off the ground. There's nothing that says you can't stand on top of the BOSU and grab down, and that's not a functional movement. It's totally functional. So we need to think about functionality with the BOSU trainer and how it can fit into everyday life, from our average Joe to our rock star fitness instructor or student, all the way up to those professional athletes. Everyone has functional movements on the BOSU. And then it just further talks about the overall anatomy and safety and research behind the system and behind the body and how great the BOSU is for everyday training. So it really not only provides you the tools to work with the BOSU effectively and do this exercise effectively, but to understand the background. A great part of my job is working with instructors, with over 30 instructors and with 10 trainers, and teaching them to educate. There's no point in putting someone out there on a BOSU if they don't understand why it's helping them and how it can transfer into their daily life. Besides, it is fun. But I think that this system really helps that. So, you have all of that great information. Like I said, following that, we have all those workouts that I told you about, the 30 and 15-minute workouts. And last but not least, we have the CDs, the DVDs that are going to show you how to use each workout effectively and for the right people and to get the most out of your workout. And it's going to be those awesome master trainers that we see on the videos and at conferences and that we know their stuff. So it's always great to have help from a professional. So that in a short nutshell is how to use the BOSU complete system. Fairly simple, it's all I got here for you. BOSU couldn't have made it any simpler, and I hope that it is simple. I hope it's something that can be integrated into your program, your classes, or wherever you're using it at. So again, my name is Alison, and we are going to transition ourselves into 30 minutes doing the total body workout, starting just with a short warm-up. We're going to go through 10 exercises, cool down, and hopefully a great effective